Good morning. No, I'm joking. I'm not gonna do
Vietnam.
No.
you decided.
I gotta mute his mic next time. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of GeekCypha here on Free X Agents Media. We're also available on twitch.tv/GeekCypha, and we're also available at GeekCypha.com. So if you guys want to support, you can watch us on all those platforms, or you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you enjoy podcasts. That was my spiel. Great show, guys. But no, I'm joking. We got some stuff to discuss. I want to talk about Riri so bad.
He's been salivating.
I know we have to wait because I'm
gonna just say welcome back, Ness. First.
Yeah, let's talk about that first.
You've been gone for a minute, so welcome back.
Yes, Ness, tell us stories. You were in Europe. Well, you were in France, no?
I was in Paris.
Oh, Paris. Oh, excusez-moi.
I only went for a week.
Can you tell me if my accent's any good? Because you were just there. So, mais putain, c'est quoi cette dos? Bon, qu'est-ce qu'on va faire dans les rues de Paris?
Dear.
Pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Pretty good. Yes, I'll take it.
You did sound Parisian. You did not sound Québécois.
No.
Parler comme ça en équipe.
I have to say, coming back here, it's been
hurts.
Hearing everyone speak, I'm like, oh.
You know what's funny?
That's how they feel, though. Yeah.
I went to Paris I went to Europe many years ago, and I was in Paris for a few days, and that was back when my French was not as good as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, I was so shocked when people were talking to me because I completely understood everything they were saying to me because they weren't using slang how they do in Quebec. Because for anyone who's not from Quebec, like they have their version of French, and it's very, I don't know, I'm making up a word, like slangified. Like there's a lot of English words or what. It's fine.
They in Paris they have verlan.
Yeah,
which I don't know if verlan is like where you switch the words. You say the words.
It's kind of like. It's kind of like speaking like in Pig Latin.
Yeah,
exactly.
And on top of that, a lot of their slang comes from Arabic because that's what became popular.
But needless to say, when I was there, I found it so funny because a girl came up to me and she's like, "I know you're from Quebec." She's like, I'm like, "How do you know that?" She's like, "Well, your accent." I'm like, "Okay, well that's cool because I love it here." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because I understand everything you're talking to me about. Shit on me as much as you want."
It's not that bad.
Oh, dude. In comparison, it's really night and day. Like when I got there, I understand why they shit on us. Sorry.
Yeah, no. And it's funny because they also use English words.
Yeah, a lot.
But not in the same way that we do.
Oh, interesting. What do you mean?
Which was weird. Like, I don't know, just I can't think of an exact example right now.
They use English words as nouns for things because they know that the English word is the better way to describe. Like if they said mall, they're saying mall because mall is more universal than whatever.
Yeah, like they do use English words. They just don't use it the same way we do. Like I know that like a lot of the restaurants said happy hour on the restaurants.
Oh, okay, instead of 5
cassette.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't even use 5 cassette. It all said happy hour, happy hour.
I do know that the posters for movies in Paris and in France, from what I understand, don't translate the titles. So it's Quebec does that, but France, from what I understand, doesn't do that.
Probably not.
So
like
tell us,
they don't even say biscuit; they say cookie.
Oh,
like there's certain things that they say in English that like Quebecers don't do. Like it's weird. Like it's like Quebecers use different words in English and in a different way. I don't know how to explain it, but
no, I get what you're saying. I know like they use char over here for like car. Which is short for chariot, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But over there they don't use that word and it sounds insane to them. Like anytime I've spoken to someone from France and you said char,
well, they're very disapproving of the slang that has been created here. That's that's why you get stared at. You're like you say one wrong slang and they give you that look of like, oh.
Did I ever tell you guys the story of my ex and her and I guess my in-laws at the time?
Nope.
So I was in France. I feel like I've told you. Maybe I haven't told everyone, but I'm telling a story at the table. My partner's next to me, her dad's across from me, and her mom's in front of her, and the little sister's at the head of the table. And I'm telling them a story, and the mom, like at the end of the story, the mom leans over to the dad and says in French, "What did he just say?" And I'm like, woman, my accent, like I was so annoyed, and she says it loud enough that I can hear, which to me felt like the most offensive part. Like I can hear you saying.
Why would they just not ask you to repeat?
But
yourself?
also, the dad understood, the sister understood, and my girlfriend understood. Why did the mom not understand?
Oh, I know the reason why the mom didn't understand.
My
might
French,
not like the reason.
My French accent, as I've been told by most people, isn't very Keb. It sounds closer to European French. Like people here always tease me, and they're like, "Why do you sound like
you're?" Same for me, actually.
Yeah,
you are describing what sounds like, and maybe you're through your experience, it's different. But that to me sounds like the mom doesn't like you.
I mean, I don't mind if she doesn't like me, but don't pretend like you don't understand the words I'm saying.
But that's the whole point, Brian.
But that makes her way of.
She was probably just being a snob.
But Dave, that just makes her look stupid. It doesn't. Just don't get me wrong.
But it sends a message. She could dislike
me.
I understand.
But she had met me before, so it's not like she like sending this message was. I'm just saying. If I'm sitting at a table full of people,
hey, look,
and you pretend like you don't understand. You don't look like you're being snobby. You look stupid. That's all.
But I was about to say though that usually people who are being petty look stupid though. Like you know what I mean? Like
I don't know. I know how to look petty and look good at the same time. I'm just saying you need a better game if you're gonna try and look petty and come at me like that.
Better game than the girl I'm dating's mom. Bring it on.
Big facts. I'm just saying if you're gonna come and be petty with me, don't make yourself. Don't be petty and make yourself look stupid. That's all I'm saying. That's a bad game you're running.
In general, being petty usually makes you look stupid.
Exactly.
I get.
Look, any clapback comment that's not a result of someone doing something to you, usually to me makes you look stupid.
All right.
In general, like
I just thought it was weird. I was just like this is weird.
And don't know. Everyone's guilty of just like not randomly liking someone for whatever reason, which is valid, sure, but like you keep that stuff to yourself.
So silly.
If you say it out loud, you're gonna look stupid. That's your fault.
But so you're lucky because I never actually got to spend time in France when I was in Europe. When I was in France, I didn't get a chance to stay in Paris. I only went through Paris from Charles de Gaulle Airport to the train station, the Très Grande Vitesse TGV, to take the train out to the boonies because that's where the in-laws lived. So I technically never set foot on French, like Parisian soil. I was at the airport and then in a train station.
Okay.
Very sad. Very sad.
Well, I went
to Barcelona.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a cool place. A lot of cool kids. A lot of like.
Yeah, your pictures made it look like you found the coolest area. Like you found the hippest part of town to be in.
Well, so when I went,
I know I sound old. Shut up, Dave. Dave made a face like
no.
This man said hippest. I'm like, that's what it was. It looked like all the hip.
It was hip.
Okay.
But it's because it was Fashion Week. So since it was Fashion Week, a lot of like people brought their best outfits out. You know, people from all over the world were traveling there. A lot of celebrities were there too.
Oh, cool.
Not that I got to see them, but
I was like, did you get to see
anyone? Shoulders with XYZ person.
I mean, I saw a bunch of celebrities posting that they were in Paris, like Rihanna, ASAP, Pharrell Williams for the shows. Like there were so many celebrities in there, like in Paris, but I didn't actually see them with my eyes.
Did you get to go to any of the Fashion Week shows?
No.
Okay. No, I don't know. I don't know.
No, those are super exclusive. We just like went to events and Greg got to do some hair cutting for.
I saw.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
Was that booked before? Like, how did that get set up? If you're allowed to talk.
No, so basically, one of his good friends, his name is Thad. He is a hairstylist for Paris Fashion Week for some of the shows.
Okay.
So he's an educator in Montreal. He has a studio called Gradient where he teaches, and he goes to Paris Fashion Week to do hairstyling. And a bunch of his either friends or former students who he taught came to Paris and basically like wanted to network and cut and because eventually they all want to do the same thing. They want to start doing shows.
Yeah.
So so we did a photo shoot, and Greg also did another photo shoot with the barbers where they cut a model and then they did a photo shoot with the models.
Dope.
So it was really, really cool. But the Killy, the one when he cut Killy's a Toronto rapper.
Yeah.
That
Is that the
happened
guy he
last
was cutting
minute.
outside?
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
That was a dope video. By the way,
Yeah.
if you guys are wondering who I'm talking about, I've tagged them multiple times in my stories. Greg and the whole crew of Colors. I got my haircut today by Scotty because Greg was supposed to be out of town or whatever. The timeline didn't line up for me to get my haircut by Greg this time, but Scotty did a good job. I'm looking sharp. And then I even
That is
got Chloe
good.
to do
Yeah.
my nails. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't think
nice.
you guys can see it, but if you're watching on IG, I got Black Bolt's logo done on my ring finger.
Oh, that's so
So
cool.
I'm gonna be repping that at Comic-Con this year, which is fun. Anyway,
Sick.
sorry, you were saying.
Yeah,
So he
no,
got hooked up doing the dude from Toronto.
so yeah, he got asked to do that last minute and he ended up doing that. That was cool. So yeah, basically we only went for a week, but it felt like we were there for a month.
I was gonna say, like, you were there for a week, but it felt like you left long ago because like we had
Yeah.
our event on what day was our event?
21st.
The 21st. You
Yeah.
left. Saint Jean happened. Canada Day happened, and then you're back in town. But
Yeah.
your stories, you guys exploring Paris, you guys taking like super cute couple pictures. Honestly, couples goals because those pictures were fantastic. Like you kind of like I was talking to Greg about it today. The kind of branding of that angled shot was really really nice.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
And I was just like, this is such a cool trip. But it looked like you did so much in a short period of time, which was really cool.
Yeah, it was. That's why it was. Sorry, it was exhausting, to say the least. Just because every single day there was so much to do. There was so much happening. We also made friends in Paris.
Dope.
Shout out to Bonita. She hooked us up with a couple things. She's actually from Toronto, and she moved to Paris a couple years ago.
Oh wow.
And she kind of like showed us the way a little bit and told us about some cool spots in town. So that was really cool. And then we got to meet a bunch of other people through her and also through Greg's other barber friends.
Okay.
So there was just a lot of I don't know who I spoke to, but before I went to Paris, somebody said I told them I was only going for a week. And they were like, "Oh, that's plenty of time. Paris is such a like
Oh, really?
you'll be able to see everything, And I understand in the perspective of like if you're just going as a tourist
Okay.
you're just going to see like the Eiffel Tower and the museums, like sure. But because we went, it was kind of like a networking trip, especially for Greg. It was a lot of every single day we either had an event or a dinner or a photo shoot or
that's so cool.
Whatever was happening, there was just something happening every single day. So it was really, really tiring. And in between that, we had to squeeze in the touristy stuff that we wanted to see.
Right. Because I did say you saw the Eiffel Tower from when I saw you saw the Louvre because I saw a picture of the Louvre Museum.
Yes, we did. So yeah, we did intentionally get tickets for Louvre and Versailles, the Chateau Versailles.
Oh, dope.
We really wanted to see those two. So we did make time to go see those.
Okay.
The Eiffel Tower, we actually saw it by accident because
that's awesome.
We did a photo shoot at the Eiffel Tower.
Right. Okay. That worked out. Yeah, that's so
it worked
dope.
out. I mean, we were gonna try and find time to do it anyways, but it worked out that like the shoot we were doing was at the Eiffel Tower.
Right.
And then we did squeeze in a little boat tour on
La
by the
Seine.
river, La Seine, just so we can like do something, kind of chill. Yeah. But other than that, really good. We got to taste this really cool restaurant called Early June. Shout out to I'm laughing saying this because
Early
of
June.
course. Huh?
No, I was repeating the name Early June.
Early June, yeah. It's a really cool, like, I don't want to say artsy, but it's kind of like this it's a really cool concept because every 2 weeks they change chefs and they bring a chef from like from around the world, I mean.
Oh wow.
So you're basically
So the menu changes.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, the menu changes, and I'm laughing because sorry, I was trying to find the name of the show, but it's called Fuck That's Delicious. So Action Bronson has a YouTube. I can't believe I forgot the show because I literally watch it religiously. He has a show called Fuck That's Delicious, and on that show he goes to all kinds of restaurants around the world. Early June was one of the restaurants he went to, and that episode where he went to this restaurant really like stuck in me and Greg's heads because it was like a vibe. He was eating, he was drinking outside on the patio, and they were the staff seemed amazing, which they were. So we went to try this place because we were like, Action Bronson made it look so cool.
Yeah.
So we went on the last night actually that we were there, and one of the best service, one of the best experiences. Really, really cool.
I would imagine a restaurant that changes chefs every 2 weeks. The main selling point is how good the staff and the system is, because they're able to input a chef and take a chef out, and things still run smoothly. So that's
I think it's like a, I don't know exactly if it's like a family run or like a local. I'm not sure of who runs it, but it seems to be the same staff, because even we recognize one of the waitresses from the show.
Cool.
So it seems to be like the same people that's running it. And I think I don't know what connections they have, but they somehow have some sort of connections to get like top chefs around the world. So it's really cool. Really good experience. I recommend if anyone goes to Paris to go to early June. And yeah, other than that, it was really, really fun. Honestly, like no complaints whatsoever. People were super nice. And one thing, actually, I have to say, I was really surprised about. We were in France, and going on the train and the metro system, you hear English, French, and Spanish. Signs and like announcements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, why Spanish? I didn't realize that there was that much of a
I was so
Spanish
impressed
community.
with like, it's a French, like I was expecting it to be kind of like Quebec where it's like everything French, you know, only French, but it was there was English signs, there was Spanish, they were so accommodating to like
especially because they're
languages.
Yeah, they're a major tourist city, so I
was about to say they're also a hub, right? Like a lot of people have layovers there, and they have to stay there and whatnot.
True.
Like
that's true, but still, I was shocked.
This is where Montreal or Quebec messes up.
Yep.
This is where like this is a big thing.
Fuck you. Sorry,
but like it's a big thing that if you are a major tourist place, like Paris is a major tourist city in France. Mm-hmm. And France recognizes that and allows Paris to do what they need to do so that there is to attract tourists. And Quebec, knowing that Montreal is a tourist city, should be more open to Montreal doing what it needs to do and just being left alone, because it doesn't make sense to have
better for the economy.
My God.
But this is where certain politics here are just stubborn, because if you think about it, Paris, where the language originated from, who also hates on you for how much you've butchered the language, has also adapted the concept of being more bilingual, openly bilingual and cool with it than here. Doesn't make sense.
And on top of that, you can't tell me that Paris or France is losing its French language.
And
no possible way. That's the thing that I find the most ridiculous about Quebec. Quebec constantly saying like, we're going to lose our language, when Paris and France have been speaking French, and French has existed for like 500 years before English. And I get, like, I've seen videos where people are explaining like the version of French that became popular that is the version that was spoken in Paris and around Paris in France, and there was lots of different dialects spoken all throughout France. And it's only after like a certain time, I don't remember which war happened, but something happened where they were just like, yo, we got to consolidate the language. We can't have everyone speaking like 30.
Was it the French Revolution?
Maybe it's a revolution. I know something happened. I don't remember exactly which one, but whatever it was triggered them to be like, hey, yo, we all got to start working together. So everyone has to speak this French, because this is the most popular French. Like people from outside of the country who come into France are speaking this version of French. So y'all need to fall in line. And they did it. The other languages existed, and they were dialects, and yes, they were cute and nice, and the Gaulois, and so sure, cool. But ultimately, your French language isn't dead. It's been living, thriving for thousands of years. You guys became colonizers and spread it to other countries. So it is what it is. Like, and then Quebec is over here being like, we have to protect the French language. And then even when the leader of Quebec right now has made comments, he has used English when talking about protecting the language, which people called him out on, and he's still like,
yeah, but you know,
they're in the headlights.
It's how we do it there, right?
Anyways, all that to say,
that's why
I don't want. I'm keeping
let's
my
go to
comments
France.
about this. I don't want. I'm going to go down.
No, I mean we already covered it.
But yes, go to France.
Go to France.
Go to France.
Also, great food. Great food.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how the food was. Quick food review. Early June.
Review?
Early June.
Oh yeah, early June was great.
Okay. Where else should people check out in France for food?
We went to a place called Chez Denise. That was really good too. It's like a bistro family style.
Okay.
What else? Oh, I can't remember the name. One of the first restaurants we went to was amazing, blew my mind, but I can't remember the name for the life of me.
Can I ask you, do you know what arrondissement you were in? Because like I know how there's
I was in the 10th
arrondissement. Okay, cool.
10th arrondissement, yeah. Apparently that is according to like local French people, and like I have my uncle's girlfriend, so I guess my aunt in a way.
Yeah.
She used to live in Paris. She's from there, and she lived in I think the 19th, she told me, but when I told her I was staying in the 10th, she was like, "Oh, good. That's she's like, that's real Paris."
Okay, cool. That's so funny.
And it was. You can tell it was very like local, and you're not getting the touristy people. Like there wasn't a lot of, tourists around. So
but the food cool. and like the restaurants you went to, were they in that arrondissement? That like
a lot of them, yeah. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's what because like when I was
restaurants were in like more of the local areas.
Perfect. Because I was gonna say when I was in Shoreditch in London a couple months ago, that was like people told me like, oh, that's the vibe. Like if you're gonna go to London, this is where like the culture hub is, and like that. So that's why I was like, if you were in Paris, I'm sure there's an area like that area has a name. So, but I know they do it by arrondissement.
There's a few places in Paris that are like cool spots to stay in. Like I know I heard I think it's called Marais, like that's a cool spot too.
Oh, cool.
But the 10th is apparently like a developing, it's kind of like the St. Henry of Paris from what I understood.
Dope. Okay.
There's a lot of young people. There's like a canal where everyone chills at, and every single night it was like, well, it was during Fashion Week, so it was probably more busy because of that, but every single night the canal was filled with people just
cool
sitting on the grass drinking and just chilling and stuff on the canal. So
such a vibe.
I recommend the area.
And one last question: do they have the equivalent of Bixies?
Yes, of course.
Cool.
Biking was actually the best way.
I was going to ask, if you guys
get
got
around. Although to me it did add up really, really quickly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you don't have a pass, right? You just have.
You can get a pass, but even with the pass, you're still paying for like the distance. So for me, it was not worth it because like the euro compared to the Canadian dollar is like crazy different. But if you had your own bike, or I don't know if you rented one or whatever.
For the whole trip.
It's so worth it to get around. It's so easy. There's bike paths everywhere. Everybody's biking.
Cool.
Like. No one really. I mean, people drive, but like barely. Like so many people are just biking all the time.
But there's a lot of places like that in Europe. Like
Amsterdam.
I was about to say Amsterdam, even London. Well, I mean, assuming you could survive the rainfalls all the time, but like you technically,
I don't know. I'm remembering when I was just in London, and it did not feel as bike friendly as, like I was in major like central parts of London. Like yes, there's like the
outsider.
Yeah, but like if you're in like the downtown area, I would never touch a bike in that. There's way too many people. The roundabouts scare.
That's the thing. Man. Sometimes I biked a couple times, and it kind of freaked me out sometimes because sometimes the bike lanes were like under construction and they were blocked, so you had to like bike with the cars, and that stressed me out a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know the area. Like when you're not familiar with the place, it's like you're kind of like.
You don't know the driver's energy.
Yeah, exactly. And the energy over there, the drivers, different vibe there. Different
100%. Certain areas.
Them and their narrow roads.
One of our Ubers got in this huge screaming match with a biker because he was on the car lane. He just started screaming at him through the window. He like stopped and everything. It was a whole thing. Anyway, but
Europeans are passionate behind the wheel.
They're French. The road rage is intense. They're nice people, but they're road rage. It's scary.
It's a whole other level of energy.
Well, it's just like in Italy and Greece. It's like the level of balls that like motorcyclists have.
Oh
my god.
Yeah.
I've seen things on there. I'm like, I thought this person would be murdered. I would, if I was driving, you would have been murdered. Like, 'cause I would have not reacted. You give no time for that. It was like, wow.
Yeah, but they use lime. A lot of the
Oh.
bikes and scooters, they use lime.
Okay, cool.
So it's easy access.
I love that
and
line.
one other thing.
Sorry.
Go for it.
If you ever do go in Paris, just try to remember it's a European country and they don't believe in AC. So
they don't. It's so brutal.
If you want AC, because we went during a heat wave and it was brutal. Like even going into stores don't have AC, malls don't have AC, like don't expect AC.
Wow.
Luckily we stayed in a hotel, so there was AC.
Yeah.
But if you want to stay in an Airbnb, there's probably not going to be AC.
There's
just
not.
so you guys know. We were gonna do an Airbnb, but we booked last minute and there wasn't much available.
Right.
But
because it was fashion.
Book a hotel. Yeah. Book a hotel if you want AC. If not, prepare yourself.
That was the one question I was going to ask. So I went to Paris. It's been probably about 10 years. So I was curious about that aspect of it because that was the one thing I remember. Because I was like, I went more like the end of August, so it wasn't as hot. But I remember being in my head, I'm like, there's no AC anywhere in these places.
No.
Even it feels like even in the cars, they're like, you could roll up the window and this could be an ice box, but you choose to sit in this traffic, windows down, and you're like, why?
They don't believe in it.
Cultural, baby. It's cultural.
Yeah, culturally, they just don't believe in AC.
They like being hot, sweaty, and sexy people running through the streets. Shout out to Mark P making jokes like this, and I do understand the joke. I thought you were going to say BO because
that's their real aphrodisiac.
That used to be a joke.
That's why it's called eau de toilette, because that used to be the natural aphrodisiac, right?
But that used to be the joke about Paris, even though I mean it's not really that way anymore. But I remember when it's like British have bad teeth. Yeah, but it was like British have bad teeth. The French smell. It's like okay. Y'all still wish you were there though. So
you all wish you could be like them still. So that's
facts.
That's
but also
funny.
The metro system is also like a great option. Like we were next to the train and the metro station, so we often used that. Like we didn't drive or Uber or nothing. Like we only walked. Took the metro.
Not Ubering is impressive on vacation.
No, yeah, we didn't have to. Like everything was so close. Like we walked. We don't mind walking, so like even if it was 30 minutes, we would walk. But we were right next to the train station and next to the metro station, and everything was like 15-20 minute metro right away. Like
this is what happens when you got them good young knees. When
you just like to see that's enjoying the vibe, my friend.
Sure, but when you have old or bad knees, listen, you youngins.
Brian, you could do it if you were staying next to a metro.
That's what I'm saying.
If you were staying next to a metro station, you could do it.
You're gonna have these knees soon, son. Crickety crack.
Maybe not the 30-minute walks. Like
the sun's gonna keep me up.
Yeah,
we didn't do that every day. Like it was too hot to be walking around 30 minutes every day like that. Like we couldn't do it every day.
So that's how they also stay svelte too, right? Because isn't that a thing? Like they eat cheese and bread and wine with every meal. No joke. When I was in France, every meal. I don't even drink, and I enjoyed the wine. The thing with France when I was there was it was like every meal we would have meals that in my head you don't need bread with, and I would still be given bread and cheese. I was like, I just remember thinking, why? What is this? Y'all just want me fat? Like I don't understand. My favorite cheese was Munster, which you should not. It's like one of the smelliest, and the gas you will have afterwards is disgusting, but it's so tasty. My God. Like something from a cave. I don't even understand the process.
Something from a cave.
But Munster bread and cheese.
The bread too was just the bread.
Oh yeah.
All the bread was fresh. Like you never go to a spot and the bread was not good.
Yeah.
Did you try those hot dogs like wrapped in croissant or whatever?
I did.
Oh, is that a thing now?
Yeah,
they wrap their hot dogs in croissants?
Yeah. For me it was like too much, but
yeah. That's what I felt too, but I thought you have to do it.
It was too much like butter and like
I was gonna say
dog and like you just feel kind of gross after.
Yeah, because it's I imagine like is a hot dog boiled or like is a fried hot dog? Like
no, I think it's spoiled. Like it's kind of like a
pogo when I had
hot
it was
dog.
spoiled. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Stand corrected.
But they just have like croissant bread, like
wild.
It.
Okay,
yeah, instead of the.
It was just too heavy for
bread
me.
or
and is this a new thing? Because I've never heard of it.
It's at least a decade old. I was asking this. I was curious if it was still there.
I think they even have it here. It's not as good, but like
yeah.
Again, not delivering Quebec, but anyway.
You know what's great? Like I like when people come to Montreal and they're just like, "Oh, I went to Premier Moisson and oh, your croissants are so good," and I'm just like, "Yep, good enough." Like you're like, "Yeah, it's good enough."
We have some places that are really good.
Yeah, there's some small.
Okay. But one thing I have to say, sorry.
No, that's
one thing I did miss about home. But we are North American and we're spoiled.
Yeah.
Not just the AC, but I did miss our coffee. Usually, like European coffee is really good. Like
yeah,
is amazing.
That's what I've heard.
Croatia was good. Obviously Italy is
right. Yeah. One of the best.
But Paris coffee was just not very good.
Oh, interesting.
Which was really ironic because they have so many cute cafes, like they're known for.
Yeah, they always have coffee and cigarettes, no?
But yeah, isn't like that's not good. The coffee is like watered down. They don't really make like iced coffees either. So that was one thing I learned. Like we asked for iced coffee a couple times, and they were looking at us like, "What?
You want us to put ice in?" Yeah,
I was about to say like they're looking at you like taking out.
And then we were like, and then some of them were like, "Oh, okay, Americano glacé," and we're like, "Okay."
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
Or they just do cold brew, but cold brew is no ice. It's just cold.
And it's also, isn't it condensed? Like the caffeine in a cold brew is higher than a regular coffee.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's what I've.
But yeah, they don't do iced coffees. It was super strange. So I did miss the coffee. I was so happy. Like when we landed, we went to Tim's. We were like, coffee.
But I was gonna say, especially because you were out so much, you probably wish you could have had like a good coffee to help with the little boost. And that the one thing they don't have is okay. Well, that's fine.
The coffee wasn't great. I have to admit, the coffee.
Well, I'm happy you had a good time. And again, it's funny that you were only there for a week, but it sounds like you had a month's worth of adventure. So that is great. That is fantastic.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of news. Actually, I think we only have this one thing. The other thing is we can't really discuss because it's a trailer. So, but Jim Shooter, Marvel editor-in-chief through the crucial 80s era, has passed away, which is very sad. Jim Shooter is a very important figure over at Marvel. I think a lot of different fans and a lot of different eras of Marvel had different leadership, and he thankfully was able, in an era where they were not the most financially stable, he did still help them stay afloat and did have a pretty decent run, in my opinion, of some great stories and stuff. Some really cool stuff came out of the 80s from Marvel, and some of the stuff that we're seeing now in the films and whatnot are like continuous stories that like ran from the 80s. Like, you know, like when I read Secret Invasion and there's references to the Skrulls from something that happened in the 60s and 80s, those are all cool things for me to know that those stories are what led to, unfortunately, Secret Invasion, the show. But great fortune, Secret Invasion, the comic book, is fantastic. So stuff like that, you know. So we want to, you know, send condolences to his family and to all the fans, because there's probably a lot of people out there who are very sad about that loss. Yeah. What else do we have, guys? I think I can get to it now. Can I start talking about Riri?
Yeah, no, let's go down the warped mind of Brian and how he wants to talk about Riri. From Ironheart.
I'm gonna start. I was talking to Dave earlier, and I said specifically that if I was gonna talk about this, I needed to preface it with a statement about something else.
He wants to be rude.
And you know what? The only reason this is going to feel rude is because I feel like a lot of people are going to be annoyed when I point this fact out to them. Not an opinion. This is a fact that Marvel has done this twice. And the last time they did it was in one of everyone's favorite properties that everyone forgave. But I stood on business for that one and made this exact comment. And here I am making it again. Spider-Man No Way Home, in which Spider-Man learns no lessons from Far From Home and continues to be an idiot. And that is directly what led to the death of his aunt and directly led to a lot of mishaps, all because of his stupidity. and not being able to learn any lessons from anything he's done. No growth is one of the things that I hate the most about Marvel's younger characters, because it feels like they only let the older characters grow. Tony Stark grew throughout the entire MCU. He went from being an alcoholic warmonger, flamboyant jerk, to being a caring father who wanted to protect the entire world. Captain America came out of the ice and went from being a lost puppy to being a strong, important hero who stood up and stood for those that he cared about. Because his best friend Bucky, as much as people like to joke about they were in love, put all that aside. He actually cared about that person and stood for that person. But Spider-Man goes from Far From Home, where he gets tricked by a villain, gets into his next movie, and does the exact same stupidity and gets screwed over and loses his dad. And I'm so sad to see them do it again with Riri, because spoilers, I'm going to spoil a pretty big part of it. So hopefully you guys are ready for this. But the fact that the entire season, she spends that finding out that the Hood has made some sort of dangerous agreement and that she knows it's bad and she knows it's dangerous. And everyone tells her throughout the entire series that it's dangerous. And she turns around, and at the end of the series, we see her shaking hands with Mephisto.
So that was going to be one of my biggest gripes.
Huge issue.
Because I have to say this, for someone who's supposed to be super intelligent, which is also same thing as Spider-Man, which makes it very frustrating.
Exactly.
These are like one of the people who are like so like I could see so ahead of like whatever technology I'm working on, but you can't think 2 steps ahead of how you're gonna walk into a door if you keep walking. It's really stupid.
And it bothers. I get that people are like, there's a difference between book smart and street smart. I think the major issue though is this is basic smarts.
But it's also we're not talking about we are talking about young people, but we're not talking about 12-year-olds. She's at least 19 in the show.
19, 20, at minimum.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
And Peter's, if anything, Peter's even probably slightly older than
Peter
her.
is young. No, Peter's younger than her.
He's still in high school. He would have been younger. He was still in high school. Sorry, yes, you're correct. However, regardless, this is after a person has gone through, like she went through Wakanda Forever, right?
Yes.
And that's a lot of life experience.
Yes.
To like at least second guess stuff. And the thing that didn't just bother me about the fact that she knows that it's cursed. She knows that Hood has like a deal. She knows because her auntie, who's like a voodooologist or whatever, even tells you, don't touch this piece of don't touch this material.
Cree Summers,
they're so scared of it, they handed it back to you and demand that it leaves their shop.
Cree Summers' character Madeline Stanton, who, as far as I can tell, is not a Marvel comic character, but was made for the show. But Zelma, her daughter, is a comic book character, 616 character. That a whole interaction with magic was fantastic. I really genuinely liked it. I thought it was really cool for them to mix in this kind of, especially when you find out that Zelma is training at the school that they create at the end of Multiverse of Madness. Yeah. You don't see it, but they make references to it. And I was just like, bong, okay. See, this is the subtlety I like. When we had...
Those are small threads. Those are threads so that you understand that we're in the same universe.
Yes. Not what we did in Daredevil, where the dad from Miss Marvel shows up and is heavily talking about his daughter, and it just feels heavy-handed. Yeah. That stuff I didn't like. But this small thread of Cree Summer, Madeline Stanton talking about, now that my daughter is practicing magic and she like name drops the place and is learning proper magic, and they're making references, and she's like, I moved her back to Chicago and she's kind of creating her own magic. I was just like, yo, this is great. I love this. And just like you said, huge, big, flashing, dangerous warning sign. Yo, you need to not touch this shit. This stuff is dangerous. You need to get away from it. Don't mess with this stuff. Don't deal with this stuff. Warning number 1. Warning number 4 by that point.
There's been too many warnings. And the other thing is this, right? She has learned, even in Wakanda, I think she learned this, but definitely on the show, she learned at least 3 or 4 times. I can't trust if people are going to tell me something. If I know they're shady, they're going to tell me something, and they're probably not going to deliver on it, or they're going to tell me I can do this when I can't, or they're going to do this for me and they won't. And she blatantly asks a guy named Mephisto, which, let's just be honest, sounds like the devil. Like, you don't even need to know what the concept of the devil is. And when someone says, my name is Mephisto, I'm like, okay, I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Right.
Like, it's like someone coming up to me and saying, my name's Damien. I'd be like, take a step back, please.
Yeah.
Like let's just hold on.
But another thing, though, that's super important about that scene, she acknowledges to Mephisto, you're the dude that gave him the hood.
Yeah. She's confirming that this is the guy I'm not supposed to listen to. And sure, they did film it in a way that made it look like he was maybe doing some magic on her.
Yes.
Because it was cutting up and he was whispering and then not whispering.
Like hypnosis type thing.
Like there was all that stuff going on. But then she has a clear thought of saying, just me, right? I'm like, the fact that he says just you, right, means right away it's not just you. It's going to be you, and if I want to affect you, I could hurt someone else to affect you. Bong. Like, that's as simple as it gets. Like, and she already learned that lesson because Hood threatened to kill her and then was worried about her mom. So you already know this is a problem, and yet you're still doing it. It's frustrating.
Yeah,
it's frustrating because it's not that is not street smart. That is like pretty 1+1 stuff.
Yeah,
especially again for her. Like,
I thought of this analogy earlier, and I don't know if it will make the most sense, but I couldn't think of any other way to describe it that really got through to how dangerous the situation is and how stupid it feels she was playing. You have a guy who has a gun, and the gun is dangerous, and he's hurt people with the gun. He's hurt himself with the gun. The gun has like done all these different dangerous things and again, he's done these things with the gun. And you know that he got the gun from somebody.
Yeah.
The person that sold him the gun made him a deal. I'll give you this gun. You'll be able to do whatever you want with this gun. Run through the city, run the city. This gun will do it all for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've worked with this person, and this person, now that they feel empowered by the gun, has done a bunch of dangerous, horrible things. They've killed people, like all this stuff has happened. And then you end up stopping the person. You finally stop the person with the gun. You take the gun away from them. You go downstairs, and the gun vendor goes, hey, do you want a gun? And you go, hey, you know what? I saw what the last guy did with the gun. Why don't I get a gun too? It doesn't make any sense. It drove me absolutely insane to see that play out that way.
And here's one thing, though. One thing I wanted to also say is that I found the first 3 episodes a lot more memorable than, let's say, the last 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I also found I think it's more because I found episode 5 a little, I don't want to say weird, but like at one point it felt like campy and like you're going through the motions. But then by the end it picked up because of how the episode ended with them merging the magic with the armor type thing.
Yes.
But
I thought that was a little weird.
Yeah.
But I wasn't mad at it.
I wasn't mad at it because it didn't give her powers. It was just like you have protection against magic, which is fair. But here's the thing. I have a question for you guys. In regards to Mephisto, I've been struggling with it with something that's been bothering me about it.
And people must be happy that we finally got Mephisto.
But that's the thing.
People have been hoping for Mephisto to come through for how long?
But that's the thing. I feel like part of me feels like this Mephisto putting in was very forced.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't know if I have that feeling because everyone's been saying it the whole time.
Okay.
Or it's just like, bam, that's what it is. Now, again, obviously with the Hood, I don't know anything about the Hood. I don't know that character. So maybe everyone's like, well, Dave, you're wrong because the Hood is notorious to be with Mephisto. Fine. But I found it oddly forced, just like how it went down. I do think that
Cohen.
Yeah, I think he did a great job. I think he did a good job of it.
Okay.
But now with that revelation, I know why they did this in a 2-week spread.
Oh, interesting. Skinny, it looked like you wanted to say something. Were you about
to read the private chat? But yeah.
All right. So I'll just say this. I think the reason why they did this in a 2-week spread is because Fantastic Four is in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
From now, they want to close off Phase 5 completely so they can move on to Phase 6 because Fantastic Four is Phase 6.
Yeah.
And they needed to have Mephisto presented before doing the things they wanted to do in Phase 6.
Why though?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm wondering.
I'm just saying that's
your theory.
That's my theory.
Okay.
And because I have a feeling with how Mephisto is. Mephisto might be one of the very few characters that should be on any medium that they do, whether it's a movie or a TV show, because you're essentially the devil.
Yeah,
that's what you are.
Yeah, he's like a version of Marvel's devil. Yeah.
You know, it's like Dormammu. If you put Dormammu anywhere, he's like, because I don't. What would if Mephisto's the devil? What would you call Dormammu? Just a demon?
Also the devil. Like a ruler of hell, I guess.
Dormammu's ruler of hell?
Well, he's ruler of the dark dimension.
Right.
And then Mephisto is in charge of...
I guess Mephisto is closer to an example of Earth's, like, Satan. Like, you're just signing, like, you can sign away your soul to the devil.
Exactly.
And that's what Mephisto does. He essentially is just offering. But, I mean, Supernatural, the show would tell us that, like, oh, there's also just crossroad demons, like people you can make deals with. And Mephisto is more, in my opinion, a crossroad demon, but he likes to play like a big dog.
He likes to play like he's the devil, but he isn't.
Yeah.
He's not big like that, because there's also, then if you're going to go this far, like magic technically rules over hell.
Yeah.
So like there's that whole dichotomy then.
Magic the character.
Magic the character. Yeah. Not
just the art form.
Ileana Rasputin.
Yeah. Exactly. Just wanted to clarify because some people might not know who she is. So Colossus's sister and all that. Anyway.
Yeah. So that's why I feel this show was maybe rushed or something in regards to presentation and whatnot. Only because I don't know what it will be, but I have a sneaking suspicion something of this will have an impact.
Yeah. It's just the thing that hurts so much is I watched a review by a group of people I really respect. Like I respect their opinions on a lot of TV shows.
And their opinion was wrong?
They shat on Riri and Ironheart the first 3 episodes really hard. And to the point where I couldn't even finish their episode because I was like, this doesn't even feel like you guys are giving this a chance. It feels like you guys
are a cool thing to do.
Yeah, but these guys never do that. That's why, like, because you know me, I wouldn't watch it if they were a bunch of like neckbeard assholes. These guys never do that. They never just go for the kill based on, if anything, they talk regularly like we do about the importance of these stories and these characters. And they were equally concerned about the fact that Marvel seemed to have buried this show early on and kept wondering, like, why would Marvel bury this show? And then they said, we're going to watch the show. Don't worry, we got you guys. And then when I watched the review was an hour and a half of them destroying the show and nitpicking at things that I was like, that stuff is not that bad in the first 3 episodes. Like, I'm usually on par with their criticisms of like, the Superman trailer did this wrong. The Fantastic Four trailer changed this up. And, I didn't like how this looked. And then also the positives, like, I like this, that, and the other thing. I usually am on par and I kind of understand where they're coming from. This one, I just couldn't understand. I was like, the show is nowhere near as bad as you guys are reacting. Like, you're making it seem like her character doesn't make sense. The writing is poor. The acting was off. Like, I was like, what are they talking about? Because I watched those first 3 episodes. I didn't think Dominique and Anthony and all of them were doing that bad of a job.
I don't think they were doing a bad of a job. I could maybe see a bit of criticism over a bit of the girl who played Riri in the sense of like some of her more like facial, like her body reactions, or if you will, because some of those things were like maybe odd to someone, but that's also, I only feel those ways because of the concept of, again, she was making some bad decisions. You're having one physical reaction, but then you're doing the opposite of what you would do with that. But anyways, but other than that, I don't think the writing was poor.
I just want to answer this question real quick. How does Riri know the name Dormammu? If you're talking about the scene at the end where she says Dormammu to... Oh, sorry. I thought Steve had seen it, Skinny. When she's talking to...
I haven't seen it either.
A certain character and she says the name Dormammu, it's because Zelma has said it to her earlier.
Yeah. It's because another person gives
her
reference. She
had been told about the character. So... Yeah. Or the energy or the spirit, whatever.
However, overall, though,
well, I said, I gave when I said No Way Home, which made the exact same mistake of making it that these young heroes don't learn any lessons, and I gave that a 6 on 10. When I'm watching this show, and the first 3 episodes had me tipping on 8 because I was just like, the action's there, the heart is there, the story, the detail, all that stuff. I thought it was good. And then you give me 4, 5, 6, and I got Cree Summer again, but I don't get a lot. I don't get it. Like, you bring in Cree Summer, she's not the magical one. You bring in someone else. The one fight scene that I was really looking forward to is not even 4 minutes. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, we're going a little quick. I'm like, this is
it was a
but
quick
the budget's low on the shows.
I know that the show has less budget, but it still felt like instead of making it a fight with multiple people, you could have chopped it down and just made it the one fight with one person that was longer, because you introduce someone that should be able to fight Riri, and then you only have her fight that person for 1 minute. And she spends most of her time fighting people that I'm like,
no one cares about.
You were side characters.
Yeah, these were side characters that
pieces.
And you've shown she's smarter than them already. Sorry, Skinny, hit us. You might be muted, homie. Sorry, because I can't hear you. My apologies.
Sorry. Does that said person that you wanted her to fight die?
No.
Good. All right, I'm cool.
Thank you.
But my thing would also be is that you're
actually they don't die, but oh yeah, okay. I forgot what happened to them for a second.
But it's like seeing Superman take a really long time to destroy an army, and then when he gets to like the bad guy, he takes one punch and they fall down.
Yes, that's
the annoyance.
Yeah, Superman fought like a whole army of people, and then gets to Zod, and him and Zod fight for 2 seconds.
Not even 2 seconds. Like legit. Like, oh, I had to make sure I didn't kill those people because I cared about them. I don't. Clack, and you just fall. And it's very. I would actually say that's basically what happens in the thing that I'm complaining about. That's basically exactly what happens.
Yeah.
That's annoying.
Slightly stretched by a few more seconds, but
all this to say, I still think people should check it out. I don't like the way they rolled out the show. The weird promo. Yeah. And
they let the review bombing promote this one, and they actually did pretty well for them, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just 4, 5, 6, man. I don't know. Like 1, 2, and 3 had me so hype, and then to watch 4, 5, 6 and to see the pacing. Well, the pacing got thrown out the window. But
4 and 5 were so 1, 2, 3 was, I think, more balanced. 4 and 5 because there were more character building. It was less action, which resulted in less CGI or whatever.
Sure.
And then 6 you bounced back because then you went back to needing to advance the story, but. I think overall the action was pretty good. I think the writing was decent.
Yeah.
I liked the girl who played Natalie.
Yeah, the girl who plays the best friend is great. Can I just say though, one issue with the writing? The Hood's motivation?
That was poor.
Is that the same as in the comic?
I don't know. I don't know him well enough.
In the comic book, isn't the Hood the son of somebody?
Yeah, the gangster guy that he takes over.
He's just some guy.
Oh, he's just some guy. Okay.
He's just some guy.
No, because because the motivation for the Hood, when you find out why he's doing what he's doing, I gotta say, I saw that and I was just like, "Oh, this is lame." This is lame. Oh, no. I was like, y'all.
I just want daddy.
And then, but not even just that. And then to have a scene where he's sitting at the table, and then he's just like, somebody says to him, "Yo, we shouldn't be here," and he's just like, "You know what? You're right," and they leave, and I'm like. What is happening? What was the point of that scene? Guys, I'm telling you, some of the stuff that happens, I'm like...
Is it over or there's still more episodes?
No, that's it. Those are the last 3 episodes.
It's just 6 episodes?
It's
6 episodes dumped in 2 weeks, yeah. And the 4, 5, 6 were nowhere near as good as 1, 2, 3, in my opinion. So...
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at the reviews. They're pretty bad.
Yeah, could you... Are you looking at IMDb? Because I'm... What are the ratings like? Because you know on IMDb you can rate each episode separately.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know if there's any episodes in 4, 5, 6 that are better than 1, 2, 3. Because I can't imagine anyone thought any of those episodes were better.
The average rating though is 3.
Oh shit!
3 point. What is it?
This is out of 10 though, not out of 5.
Yeah, 3.8 out of 10. That's the average.
Oh, that's so bad. That sucks, man. But we're not getting a season 2.
Episodes.
We're never getting a season 2.
One.
I know.
A black lady led comic book show? Brian, are you nuts, nigga?
I know. I thought if it did,
Trump's
America.
Number 1 was rated a 5.3.
Bro, you saw what they did to Sister What's her name, and she was a side character in Star Wars in Obi-Wan.
Oh yes,
they murdered that girl to the point where I haven't seen her act again. So like,
so episode 2 and 3 were what? Sorry,
they were all like around the same. The average rating for all the episodes is 6, but
okay,
5.3, 5.6, 5.8, 5.7, 5.9.
Wait,
and 6.
So there's which episode was 5.9?
Number 5.
And that's higher than 1, 2, and 3.
Number 6 is the highest rated, and that's episode 6.
Probably.
Okay, no, six. I could understand why
6
it's
was
the highest
rated.
I could see why it's the highest rated.
I would not rate 6 higher than.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I'm saying I see why.
Yeah, you're right.
But
you're
if you were about to tell me 5 was the best rated, I would have had a problem. I would have made walked out at the top.
Episode 5 having a 5.9 is ridiculous.
No,
that is not a good episode. I'm sorry.
That episode boomeranged. It was like, I'm so tired and bored of this, and then just because you had a nice dismount, you're like, oh, okay. Good.
Anyway,
but overall, it's not rated well.
I'm really sad that this is what happened to the show. I think the show could have done decent for people. I know it's just
Tomatoes rated it high.
Oh, did they? Like the fan vote?
The people's.
No, the critics.
Yeah, they had to because they got
critics
being
rated it high.
They had to.
But they said that they adjusted their rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, did they?
All the bombing. Yeah, they did.
Well, that was a fan review though, not the critics.
Oh, okay, sorry.
The critics is 86% and the audience is 53.
86 is a little high. Don't get me wrong. I don't
86 is really high.
A little high.
I'm telling you, as someone who's watched the show, it's not 86. That's not right. Those maybe the critics are measuring based solely on acting,
or maybe their pockets are really heavy now because Disney backed up.
Oh my god, this man's out here accusing these people of taking a bribe. That is wild.
Are they white or are they black?
Well, you can't tell. This man just accused the critics of taking bribes. You're wild. I wouldn't
be surprised.
That's what I've seen people say, and I'm not saying they didn't, but I mean,
oh my god! Wait, does everyone think the critics?
No, I'm saying they had to readjust. A lot of them
don't make sense.
Well, they had to readjust because after Rotten Tomatoes probably was one of the sites where all these neckbeards review bombed it and did all this craziness. Right. And then Rotten Tomatoes, the critics themselves being like, we're just going to allow this to happen, even though we've seen it happen on the last 3 female-led Marvel films. Yeah. Whatever. I'm sure Disney came at them being like, we will shut your whole shit down, buddy.
Yeah.
You will have to call yourself not something tomatoes. Like, we'll take your name.
we're gonna buy the tomatoes and squash them. Like, you know,
we'll take your name, fix it. And they were like, damn. All right.
Well, all that to say, I mean,
fear the house.
Yeah. But again, I think my main point at the end of the day for me, seeing characters make the same mistakes, young characters constantly making the same mistakes, whether it's in Peter Parker doing it in No Way Home or it's redoing it here, is kind of offensive. I get that Marvel is saying like the younger kids don't tend to make smart decisions, but you can't just keep using that same script over and over. You got to let these characters grow. And I think it's really sad to see that.
But maybe that's how they're trying to contain them into an age gap, though.
Yeah, but it doesn't
because they're not aging Parker.
Yeah, but it doesn't make sense, though.
Sense or no sense.
It won't be so much a surprise when said Dr. Doom comes and kills all them. And then the old people will have to be like, oh, we'll need to avenge them. It's not going to be the other way around like people think.
Honestly, if it is that they set it up, Dr. Doom comes and kills the next generation, yeah, you're not wrong. Because you've made this next generation, like whether it's Stature in Ant-Man, who is throwing herself into this world and was doing stuff like when you watch, I don't know how many people actually watch the last Ant-Man movie, but she's out here just doing crazy wild shit, like working with her grandmother, not being careful, not listening to her dad. You have Hawkeye, who is getting herself set up into very dangerous situations where everyone's telling her, do not put yourself in these situations. You are too young and ill-prepared for this, and she's still doing it. Whether it's Peter Parker, who is helping villains, knowing that it's going to lead to danger and losing his aunt because of his bad decisions, or it's Riri shaking hands with the devil. I don't know. I really, at some point, you gotta fix it. You can't keep showing me these young characters being like this.
But it feels so. You know what? The other thing that's annoying is that I feel like in Riri's scenario, in many scenarios, it's like she's tried to take the easy way out or the easier way out, and it's not working. And you're trying to take the easiest way out by doing a shaking of hands and everything handed to you. You should know that this is going to blow up in your face.
Dude, the whole show teaches her to stop taking shortcuts. And literally the lesson is rely on others. Like, you have a full episode where the whole thing is about her getting help. And then you go back to being like, you know what? Shortcut. The devil. Like, what are you?
The devil.
Also, can I just say this? I know we're not supposed to, but as a black man watching a black woman make that kind of decision, that feels like the most unrealistic thing. There's not a black woman I know in the world that would sit across from a white devil and go, yeah, you know what? You got me, and shake hands. No, it's not a thing. Black women have been, for the longest time, the leaders in recognizing evil in ways that have helped society. So to watch this show, it feels crazy that she goes through this many lessons with that many black women telling her, girl, don't mess with this bad voodoo. And what does she do at the end? Shakes hands with the devil. Yo, I was like, ancestors give me strength. Literally, as
ancestors give me
Dave,
strength.
When I watched that scene, I literally thought to myself, give me strength. Don't tell me this black woman is shaking hands with the devil. You can't. After everything every other black woman has told her in the show, she shakes hands with the devil. That is insane.
How villains are born?
Yes. Yeah. Tell me how that's not how they end it.
It's not how they ended.
Oh
man, if you don't get the fuck out of here, what kind of anti-hero shit is this bullshit? What are you talking about?
Like, are they making her into a villain? Like, I don't get
She's sitting there shaking hands with Fisto. Not even like being like, it's not even like a Thanos ending, like, oh, I'll do it myself shit. What the fuck?
Homie.
Fam, it's supposed to be setting. No,
I mean the end would have to be the last minute, right? Not the last.
Right. It's not
of minutes.
It's not the exact end, but you do know it's done, and you are shown
there is a
repercussions.
There's an end credit scene, so by definition, it can't be the end.
All I know is
I was here to set up Midnight Suns. This nigga is making deals with here. What is happening?
No. You know what? No, it could be Midnight Suns in the sense that Mephisto's here, because that would be Midnight Suns' enemy. So yeah.
Yeah, and what are they going to do? Rescue Iron? Shut up,
see,
man.
That's me. That's me reaching.
Crazy.
That's me reaching.
That's so disappointing.
Oh, I might not even want to watch this now.
I would say still watch it so you can see the scene, because
I wouldn't say it's still worth a watch.
Yeah,
I would still say that I wouldn't skip it.
I wouldn't skip it.
Like Eternals.
Eternals was good for the last time.
Skinny, he does it just to get you to react.
The worst part of Eternals was the end credit scene with Pip
every
Patrol.
time.
The worst part of Eternals was all of
it. You just don't like timepieces and Selma Hayek. You just a hater.
Hey, damn you! I love Selma Hayek. Desperado all the way. I was born on that stuff.
A lot of people didn't like Eternals, but
I couldn't even finish it. I was falling
asleep.
Oh,
Jesus!
No good movies. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't mind the Eternals because, like I said, I've said it in the past. I read the comic books and I like this. I like those characters, and Jack Kirby, established something cool. And was this the perfect version of Jack Kirby's dream? No. Is it a decent version? I found so. But all this to say, whether or not you still, again, you can't have this woman come along and shake hands with the devil like that. It just doesn't make sense.
That's weird. That's against everything black people do.
Thank you. Honestly,
it's like even her mom is like, we taught you this at a young age.
No, but she for sure did.
Yeah,
I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing.
And the funny part is, even if your parents didn't teach it to you from a religious perspective, Riri's story is set in a spiritual one, and the fact that she has an auntie who owns a magic shop that believes in sage and all that stuff. That same auntie warned her, and she still turns around and makes a deal with the bad energy. She is.
Multiple people told her not to trust the cloak or where the cloak came from.
Yes, they told her
multiple times.
Yeah,
and they even to the extent when there's physical touch to it, they're like, "This is bad voodoo."
Sorry, Ness, what'd you say?
At this point, they're just making her look stupid.
Yes, that's it. That's the part that
that's what's really frustrating.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. With Peter Parker, it was stupidity. With Riri, it's stupidity. With Hawkeye, it seems like ambition, at least. But
here's the thing, right? Like, I'm going to give it a bit of a different comparison, right? So whether you don't like the show or like the show doesn't matter. But like, example, Sheldon Cooper on Big Bang Theory, super smart, right?
Horrible show.
But he's dumb. But when he's dumb, you understand because the show explains to you very clearly.
He's on the spectrum.
He's on the spectrum, and he doesn't understand
social cues.
Yeah. There is no point in time is really suggested that she's on the spectrum.
No,
there's no point in time that she has some type of social.
Okay, but even the Big Bang
problem.
A misleading show.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if we were to
Horrible.
compare to like someone else who did this type of topic, but slightly successfully.
You're saying
I get what you're saying.
if you're gonna show us intelligent characters who can't read social cues,
do it.
That's one thing. But to show us intelligent characters who are getting warned by every single person in their life,
does something stupid anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I watched The Accountant for the first time on the weekend, and you have again Ben Affleck's character has his brother. They're both super intelligent.
You're talking about The Accountant too.
No, they're his brothers in the first one.
Barenthal's in the first one?
Go rewatch it. I don't have time for that. But they're both shown as intelligent on the show in the movie. But again, one of them saying one of the brothers is suffering from autism. So when he's being
not suffering, living has autism.
Sorry, that's the wrong word. I used the wrong word. I apologize.
It's all good.
They're living with autism.
Yeah,
and his challenge with living with autism, it's very clear that he can't communicate well with people. He even addresses it. The one time he opens up in the movie, he's like, I have difficulty talking to people even though I want to.
Right.
You don't have any of that. and that goes back to again the Sheldon Cooper thing, where it's like whether you like the show or not. I
understand what you're saying though, but I don't even want to put it on an autism spectrum. I want to keep to the fact that black women told this girl, "Don't fuck with the devil." They told her this thing you're touching because she had a piece of the cloak, the hood, and they told her this is some bad shit.
They kicked you out of their home because of it.
They kicked her out of the store because it was
twice.
They
went to the upside down store.
Yes, Skinny.
They said, "Get that devil shit up out my house right now."
That's actually what they said. They said, "Get it out of my house." And technically, she got kicked out of 2 stores because she was in upside down store and then she was in regular store and then she got kicked out.
And just for those of you who might be listening or watching this and might not have your black friends have never told you this, but I'll tell you right now. When your parents say, "Get that out of my house,"
yeah, it ain't good.
It ain't good. I'm telling. I've had my
father. It could be a person. It could be a cat. It could be a hat.
Yeah.
Get it out of my house.
I had my dad one time. I had a friend over. She was hitting. She was a lovely person, but she's white and she's in the house and she's play fighting with me. She's hitting me hard and all this stuff. And my dad said, "Brian, can I speak to you?" And he pulled me aside. And he said to me, "Brian, get that young woman out of my house." That's all he said.
What did he say?
He said, "Get that young woman out of my house." And I said, "Okay." And I went and I got my friend. I said, "Let's go play catch outside." Her and I went outside. She threw the ball to me once. I threw it back at her and I said, "I got to go inside." And I ran back in my house. And my dad, and when I spoke to my dad later, he said, "I don't want a young white woman in the house beating you because if you hit her back once, it turns into a situation." And I said, "Understood."
Is so funny and real.
So the energy is when you get warned by an elder to get it out of the house, it comes with the lesson and the warning that I'm doing this to protect you. And this girl went and said, "You know what? All these people that have been trying to protect me, I'm going to throw all that out the window and shake hands with the devil." Stupidest decision.
I want to give one compliment to the banter in the show, though. That actually probably answers, as you refer to them, the neckbeards comments about how probably there was for sure some guy who's like, "Oh, why isn't she going to Wakanda? Why doesn't she have all these like, like she has connections, blah, blah, blah." And there's an interaction with Riri and someone who does actually suggest that. And her response to that individual was, I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
Because
it was a good response. Yeah.
People who didn't think it, because last time we talked about it, we we came to it naturally. Like when Brian and I, or when we were discussing on the show, we were like, it's natural that she wouldn't go back. But I bet there's a bunch of people who would complain that she didn't.
Right.
And there was literally, it felt like a plant. It was like, this is to answer all the internet hate.
What was her answer?
What was her answer was like pretending to be like, because like someone
if she was Shuri,
if she could call Shuri, and then she literally started pretending to be like, this is what I'm gonna call, this is what I'm gonna say, and then what? Where are you, Shuri? What happened? Where'd you go? They hung up. Like
I do feel that scene was very good. I would say though, they did the thing where she exaggerates the insanity of it in a way that it's like, of course, Shuri would think this is the stupidest thing and be like, I'm not talking to you. There's definitely another version of that conversation where she explains to Shuri, here's what's going down. I've encountered someone who's dealing with some dangerous magic. Everyone's telling me I have to be mindful. I haven't been able to get help on my end to deal with this situation. I'm really concerned. And I do truly believe this could lead to a more dangerous situation. I don't necessarily need you to come, but could you send help? Instead, the version of her is just like, hey, I'm dealing with the devil and blah, 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 and people blowing up shops and I'm robbing stuff. And you're like,
no, she also addresses all the mess ups that she was doing. She's like, so I got kicked out of school. I lost the thing you gave me. Like, she puts a bunch of facts that
she does put it on her.
Shuri would have been like, what about this? What about this? What about?
Yeah. She does put it square on her own shoulders.
Shuri could have easily been like, call Sam Wilson, nigga.
Yeah.
Fuck is you doing? Like, what do you mean?
I think that scene is very good, and you're not wrong. I think that scene very much felt like it was for the neckbeard specifically. Like, hey, you guys are going to complain about this because we all do the same thing. Why does Spider-Man not have help from this person and that person in New York? Why do the Fantastic Four not have help from this person and this point? We've always said it, and then the comic book is kind of like, oh well, I was off saving the world in this part of the world, and you're like, okay, sure, let's pretend.
I never get why people don't factor in, pride.
That's your,
like, hey,
shit.
You know what I mean?
Like, motherfucker said it.
No, but like, hey, Spider-Man, why don't you just call Iron Man, nigga? Because I'm Spider-Man. The fuck you think? Like, what? Am I Spider Boy? Am I gonna be Spider Baby? Fuck you mean? I do whatever a spider can. I can handle these guys. Fuck Iron Man. That's what he's
facts.
Because he's a big boy. You know what I mean? But it's
facts. No, it's true. Because we specifically saw Spider-Man deal with pride because Iron Man had to come and save his ass.
Boy, if you do that ever again.
In the movie, in his first movie, Homecoming, when he's on the boat and he has to try and fix it. He's just like, yo, I had to come and save your ass because you fucked up. Anyways, that's a full review for me. I don't know if you have any last thoughts you wanted to add. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, such a fall from grace, huh? Y'all couldn't even do 4 good episodes. Shit.
It makes me so sad.
You couldn't last 2 weeks. You couldn't last a week because it's true.
You know what it makes me realize? We really didn't want Blade to come out. Because if this is how they tried
what?
Think about it.
Right.
If this is how they were
thinking about it. If you're telling me they could have canceled this show and put a Blade movie,
hold on, let him finish. I get what he's saying.
What I'm saying is, if this was the quality and the rush that they were just putting out in the last stuff just to get the last stuff, the oohs and ahs and whatever, we really didn't want that Blade movie.
Yeah,
that's true.
We didn't want
and that's the only thing that didn't make it through Phase 5, by the way.
Yeah, but again,
in Armor Wars, I guess.
Yeah,
in Armor Wars, it seems like, and I don't want to go and sound like that guy, but like the Black Lead stuff really suffers because they're really just trying to shove it out for it to be Black Lead stuff. They're not doing it because they want to do it. They're doing it because they want the money that comes with it.
Yeah.
So that's why they all do it.
They feel like they struck gold with Black Panther.
They're trying to just strike the Ironheart.
Yeah. And they're not understanding that there was a very specific thing that had to do with Afrofuturism and the diaspora of African Americans and African people and Black people who were just, because of people like Ike Perlmutter, who used to run Marvel, who didn't believe in giving Black characters or women a chance. When we finally got it, we were just like, okay, we got to support this hard. And then I don't know because from Secret Invasion with Samuel Jackson to Riri to Echo, it really is that every time Sam Wilson, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, every single time the show has people of color, they kind of shorthand the show.
But some of it's also unfair. Like for Sam, it's more or less you were the first. Oh, technically, I guess they were the second TV show.
Yeah, and they had to be compared to WandaVision, which is launched so well that it was kind of like
because it's filmed before COVID, and then you had Sam and them trying to work through COVID, and no one wants to factor that in, but they always be like, "Well, Falcon and Winter Soldier sucks." We had a whole virus,
this one
virus.
This one suffered because there was clearly a timetable to be done before FF was out. That's for sure.
All right. Well, anyways, I was gonna wrap it up. That was everything that I had for that show, and I really did enjoy it, even though I didn't love it. But that's pretty much it. Anything you guys want to tell the people before we sign off? Because that was it for me.
Go check out my reviews. I got some new ones up. More coming every week. Yojo June is just about done, so I'm going to be wrapping up my G.I. Joe stuff. Going to be doing more Marvel Legends stuff leading up to SDCC that's coming out middle of this month. Check out your boy Action Figgy Skinny. That's youtube.com/ActionFiggySkinny.
Bomb. Anything else y'all want to say?
See you at Comic-Con this weekend.
Yeah, Comic-Con this weekend in Montreal. It's going to be dope. Guys, that's it. That's all. We had a great time talking to you about all the wonderful things we talked about, whether it was Paris or Riri. We'll be back with another one soon, so make sure you keep staying on our channels, GeekCypha.com. And shout outs to Youssef. We appreciate those logos. We actually are going to discuss that as a group, and we'll get back to you, man. So thank y'all for tuning into another edition. Peace, everybody.